Yes, a warm welcome everyone. Now let's talk about a global pandemic treaty. This is a legal document that the World Health Organization want to put in place to control any pandemic which might come back in the near future. They believe that it will be a tool which they are going to use for handling future pandemics, for pandemic preparedness in the whole world. But the central principles of this treaty is equity. Now, I'm talking in the perspective of my community in northern Uganda, whereby the locals don't really know about this ongoing treaty. I don't know the involvement of the developing countries because I see the motion is being moved by mostly the developed countries. I see the United States of America putting all these motions, being supported by World Health Organization, Britain, and many more developed countries in Europe and America. But what of Africa, particularly in Uganda? I see the Ministry of Health of Uganda is seconding the pandemic treaty, but do they know the impact of this treaty to the people? It may not be so impactful to them, the top allies of the country, the politicians who set all these laws, but what of the low person in the village? What of the community? The communities are so much vulnerable to this. Right now, every time I'm in the hospital, I get different complications of related to cardiovascular diseases, heart attack, people coming with myocardial infarctions, endocarditis, pregnant mothers dying because of different complications. And when you trace back the history of vaccination, you find they have taken these COVID jabs. Right now, the world is debating about the effectiveness of this COVID-19 vaccine which were given on people. Even the manufacturer themselves, they doubt about these vaccines. They know it doesn't work. But we see people being injected every day in the hospital where I work in northern Uganda. It's a very marginalized community, but it's really painful. Right now we are handling issues whereby we need to get a very sustainable way of improving global health in our community, but seems the top highlights in the World Health Organization, different pharmaceutical companies which are so big, they have a lot of financial power muscle which are ruling the world. We are handling things, we are trying things in our community using our efforts without any facilitations to help our community to simply live healthy. But again, our efforts going to waste because of selfish interest that these people want to put on us. Now, I want to talk about mainly, if they can get me, about the involvement of the local people. They spoke about the central principle of this treaty is equity. It must be equally available for everyone. But I see, how will they involve the local people in this? First of all, there is a lot of misinformation about vaccines in our community. People don't know if these vaccines work. People don't understand that there will be a future pandemic. Like right now in my community, people believe pandemic is a satanic thing. They don't believe it is something scientific. There's a lot of misinformation during COVID-19 that these viruses were made, and these people know about it. The community members, they know about it. How are we going to handle this aspect of equity? We are struggling in the community, in the deep villages of this community. By the way, it's a refugee hosting community, but people have a lot of health issues which are really burning, other than this pandemic treaty which we are emphasizing to be signed. I don't see it very much important, other than handling better issues in the world. Now, the biggest issue with this is I'm seeing this pandemic treaty will be a tool which will be used by the World Health Organization to censor us and to do a lot of harmful things to us, because we have already agreed. It's a legal document. If we sign, every country sign, it's going to be very difficult. We're going to become slaves. It's like a coup in the whole world, which we can't really allow as people who know we are going to fight this thing to the core. It's not really very much important. During the COVID-19 pandemic, that is in the space of 2019-20, that's when I was in year one in my clinical school. We were stopped from sitting exams just because of not taking the COVID jabs. And then medical ethics is proven internationally in the whole world. Why is it that you push someone to take a vaccination which there's autonomy, it's my right, I can refuse to take it, but you tell me that if I don't take it, I will not sit exams? Which type of rule is that? That's the first question, meaning it's something very horrible. There's a bigger bad plan behind it. Yeah, it all happened. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do to save the world? What are we going to do? The Ministry of Health of Uganda, she said that it's going to the pandemic treaty is going to be a tool which will be used to bring togetherness, to bring preparedness in the world. But they are the top highlight. They're the politicians. Like the politicians in Uganda, they make very policies which do not work. Very corrupt politicians. They do things at the expense of the local people who cannot afford. She knows very well that after this, if she gets sick, she'll be flown to Texas, to India for better treatment. But it's the few people who are very poor in the community who suffer the consequences of this treat. So we need to pray hard that things really improve and God intervenes in these issues. Then another issue is a variant of these pathogens which they are anticipating it will come again in the near future. We have seen reports of the Omicron variant, we have seen the Delta, and many more different ones which came during the COVID-19 pandemic. But in our different localities where we stay, whether in Africa, whether in America, whether in Europe, do we get into concerns about the different variants of these pathogens? I think it's better the world should move a motion whereby they get a research base, they put investment in research, in the local people, the local community, to research about the pathogens which can be there in their community, because we all got different variants of the COVID virus. Yeah, you see, those are the discussions which you should partake per now, putting a very strong research value and putting much in effort, putting much money and effort in teaching preventive medicine to the community, to the local community. That's what they call equity in health. Not about signing treaties in Geneva in Switzerland. Who knows Geneva or Switzerland in my community? No one. So it's really so painful that this is going to be a tool for censoring us, for the World Health Organization to put a lot of pandemics. They will announce a pandemic at any time they want. Forceful lockdowns, breaking medical ethics laws, consent. You have seen this during the COVID-19 period. People were not allowed to travel because they don't have documents. People were not sitting exams in schools because they didn't take the COVID jabs. People were not being attended to in the hospital because they don't have. People were not allowed to take certain medicine. Use of ivermectin was stopped. Why? They just want us to die. This is something very horrible.